Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Friday morning, guys. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as season. Got a word for you. Tap in. So, guys, TGI Friday. So, guys, I want to talk to you all today about a community post I made a couple of days ago in regards to kingdom partnerships and how people in certain seasons, I would say due season or building seasons, will just get you. It will fit like a puzzle, literally. So there's a lot of volume on that particular post, as well as I touched on it briefly in the discussion on yesterday, and then I got a couple of your emails in regards to that. Either some of you have shared testimony that the same thing has happened to you or is happening to you about these partnerships that are just ordained to be, and it feels amazing. So I want to elaborate a little bit further. Okay, so first of all, kingdom partnerships. God is moving in real time, right? Again, some of you are in due season or building season. To those of you who are in isolation season or transformation, listen, keep hope alive, because the people who are currently in due season will tell you that they've been there. They've been there. Because, listen, you're going to go through transformation season first before you're promoted to due season. Point blank, period. Unless you're perfect prior. And there is no perfect individual, right? So some people may be tied up in transformation season longer. But whatever. The point of the matter is, you will go through transformation season to continue to build character integrity and also to be prepared for the blessing that will be released to you in due season. Blessings that will be released to you in due season. It's really just truly about making sure that you are so solid that you won't even attempt to screw these blessings up in due season. So keep hope alive. I know you're going through it right now, right? Your girl been there. Trust me when I tell you. And it's worth every single inch of stress. All right, so with these kingdom partnerships, right, and I know some people are just yearning for the what is it called, when the marriages are kingdom marriages. I know a lot of people are like yearning for kingdom marriages, right? So I guess you can tie that in here, getting where you fit in. But I'm just speaking about kingdom partnerships as a whole. These can be individuals who may God have ordained for you to marry, or just someone you may meet at your local store, and boom, the connection is just woo, right? It's a spiritual connection that no one can really even put into words, except the two individuals or more that's in it. So again, here's the thing: God is moving in real time. So there's no doubt that, the world has just changed. And there's a good chance, it may not get back to some type of normalcy. At least the normalcy that we once knew it as, right? So things are changing, and we may not most of us don't. I know I don't understand what God is doing. So one thing that he is doing is he is bringing together kingdom partnerships for bigger purposes. Do we know what those purposes are? Some of us do. Some of us have a clue, and then some of us don't, because some of us just walk by faith, meaning your obedience just tell you to, partner with this person. If it's, God sent, partner with this person, and you may not even know what God is going to do, but your obedience just tells you this is a person right here that I have conviction to lock in with. And God to give us the revelation whenever he does it. These relationships are almost instant. Like it makes no sense to the human mind on how you can have such a spiritual, kindred spirit type connection to someone who you've never even spent time with, never even had a conversation with on the phone per se, right? And of course that develops, right, over time. But I'm talking about when you first meet and your spirits just boom, your spirits just collide, and you know that there's something bigger, even if God have not revealed what the bigger is yet. That you know it. You feel it in your spirit. Now, if you're not properly aligned and properly healed and connected to the source, there's a good chance you'll mess it up. Because you're going to be like, wait a minute, this is too good to be true. Wait a minute, this is just too refreshing. Wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. Wait a minute, this person have ulterior motive. Like, the unhealed mind, the fleshly mind will tell you all that stuff because it's almost natural. You don't just trust people and have this instant spiritual connection in just this fleshly world. And then if you're unhealed, you're going to run from it because you're not used to things feeling safe, if you will, feeling natural. So the unhealed mind will tell you to run. The unhealed mind will tell you, oh, this person's going to hurt you. Oh, this person's going to betray you. All that nonsense. All that nonsense. This is a spiritual connection. It's a complete difference in the outcomes when we choose versus allowing God to choose. Yes, when we chose or choose, yes, we got our hearts broken. Yes, we got betrayed. Yes, we were unappreciative. Yes, all that stuff. And then what happened? Maybe you built up walls and feel like, I'm going to never trust anybody again. I'm going to never give my heart. All that stuff, right? And you mean that. And so you're walking around in life like, I'm just me and the Lord. I don't need anybody. Just me and the Lord. Not even looking for anything. And boom. Spiritual connection. Like, what? Where this came from? Where this came from? Because it's not about you. God is building kingdom partnerships for different reasons. So the individual, for example, happens to be in another country. What, you're not in that country. They're not in your country. So then maybe, just maybe, God has an assignment that you guys will work on together or steward together. Who knows? And then that person will have a certain amount of reach. You will have a certain amount of volume. And you got, two countries being affected by one assignment. So it's a number of reasons why it could happen. I know for me, well, I have several. I have about 3 or 4 right now. And they're all different directions. They're all different directions. And again, because I'm a visionary, I can see, I won't say I can see everything, right? Because I'm human. But I can see where God is taking a couple of them at, where he wants to go with it. And with one of them in particular, I'm responsible to help finance. Now, not meaning my own personal money, right? But this person works for me. And so even though she's a great worker, we have this undeniable, crazy spiritual connection that we both knew from the very first time we met, that it was more to it. Yes, it's about the job. Yes, I don't care what kind of connections we got. The job will get done, and it will get done properly, right? But there's more. There's more. And so when God gave me the download that it was more about, yes, the job will be used to help her fund whatever mission, whatever he's calling her to steward, which is also in another country. But that's all he gave me, which is fine. But then when she and I connected and really sat down and had in-depth conversations, guess what? She's already in the middle of an assignment that she's called to and stewarding. So now it made complete sense. But her project had, I wouldn't say it was delayed per se, but it wasn't moving along fast enough because of a prior job that wasn't really paying her too well. So now that, she's getting paid decent money, now that project that she's working on, that's clear as day going to be a blessing to so many others in various ways, is now moving along quicker. Because he connected us where that financial backing from her now having a good job can prosper the areas that he's called her to, that's in a completely different country. Now, is that all of it? Who knows? Who knows? I was just telling her yesterday. Who knows? All we know is what God gives us at that time. There's a possibility that when she finished this one assignment, God is going to say, all right, job well done. I trusted you. You did amazing. I need you to do another. Or not, I need you to teach a group of people how to do it. You see what I'm saying? So the partnerships can come in different ways. It can come in the fact that, okay, this may be a business relationship, but it's going to take off in other areas as well. It may be that marriage that will be the most beautiful thing that you've ever discovered, because in your mind, you've never even saw or even knew that marriages can be beautiful. And now you meet this person and boom, there's a connection that have your head spinning like, what in the world did this come from? It could be somebody you meet on social media. Now, again, let's be clear. You still have to use discernment. You still have to use wisdom. But I'm speaking about when the two spirits meet. And I'm not speaking about chemistry here in the sense of like romantic chemistry, because that's different. Chemistry is amazing when you meet someone and just that raw chemistry, right? But we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about spiritual connections that brings a peace that surpasses all understanding. So, in kingdom partnerships, kingdom connections, again, some people feel like since they were 5, they had this fairy tale to be married, by 25 and having children and white picket fence and life is Disney World. I mean, I wasn't that girl. I'm just saying. But most, or some, I should say, females really have this idea that marriage is just really about being a princess all day. Honey, not in this season. Not what we at right now in this crazy world. I mean, you can have all that. Yes, beautiful. But how long is that going to last before God starts tapping on your shoulder like, girl, you in here worried about some pink flip-flops and some, you want to just sit down on the couch and look like a princess and live this fairy tale of what society has told you marriage is really all about? And you wonder why the divorce rates are so high? You wonder why many people who are married is unhappy? Because society has told you that marriage is about, the horse and the carriage, letting you climb down with your Dorothy flip-flops, and you're just going to sit in the house all day and just smile at each girl. Okay. Okay. Give it 6 months. But when God, not when we choose, right? Not when we choose. I literally turned down 2 engagements, twice. Because even before I got as spiritually connected as I am currently, I have always been a visionary. So because I could see where God was taking me, what I do know is that those 2 didn't fit what I could see. And because I make the rules for my own life, because I create my own definition of success, which is peace, which is purpose. I'm just not going to say yes and take a ring and marry someone because society says it looks great and be what, miserable behind closed doors? No. I don't know what I'm supposed to be waiting on per se, and I'm speaking 10 years ago. I'm not sure what speaking to myself, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be waiting on and what it's supposed to feel like when God sends the one. Because I'm not really that spiritually connected yet. But I know this ain't it. This is fun, but this ain't. It's a something that I'm supposed to feel. I don't know what that feeling is, but it's not this. How many people accept the ring? Because what society has said to you. You should be married by a certain time. Excuse me. You should be married if you have those children together. You should be married. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people don't marry for love anymore. They're married for finances. What? People don't marry for love anymore. They're married for finances. I mean, we can't have both. We can't have both. Because, I mean, I don't want to be sitting up in the house with some money and I don't even like you. Can't even stand each other. Who does that? Create your own rules. Look around you. Society is screwed up. Who's going to do what society says? It makes no sense. How did I get here? Somebody needed that. Kizzy, back to kingdom marriages. So, yes, I'm sure you can have your Dorothy slipper moment, right? Okay, cool. But there's more to that. Way, way more to kingdom partnerships. There is work, honey. There is work, honey, that's going to require proper alignment. And this is why it's going to be crucial that you connect with the individual, the man or the woman, who God have ordained for you. So ladies, I get it. I'm a strong black woman. I make zero apologies too. Right? It's beautiful. Beautiful. Because my strength going to hold both of our behinds down when the world doesn't spin your head around, sir. When you're in one of those seasons, because let me tell you, seasons rotate. When you're in one of those seasons and the world is on your shoulder, oh, this strength gonna hold us down. You wouldn't be complaining about this mouth band. Because I'm going to make it happen, right? Okay. But ladies, it is going to require you to move a certain way. And many times we aren't taught this. All we're taught is don't ever depend on the man. I'm not going to let a man lead me, all this other stuff. Well, and listen, this can be a part 2 conversation because I can hear some of you now. Listen, we're not discussing that right now, but I promise we will have that discussion. Well, I trusted the man and he led me the wrong way. I promise you. Been there, done that. But I'm speaking right now, right? We had that conversation another day. And most of the times that go left anyway because that's not who God sent no way. We pick those fools and think that they're going to lead us properly. How are they going to lead you properly and they can't even lead themselves? Right? You chose that for whatever reason. God didn't send you that. When God sent it to you, there will be a peace that you cannot describe. There will be a peace that will allow you to finally put your rifles down and your swords down. You will feel safe. He will have direction because God is not going to send anybody to you who's not there yet. That's why you're still in transformation season. He's not going to send you anybody until he transforms you. But of course, we can abort the process and end up with somebody we choose because he's not going to be behind it. Or you can allow this process to finish. And then whoever he has for you, you may currently know, you may not know. But that person will be properly aligned as well. Does that mean you both are perfect? Heck no. Still flawed, still crazy. But the crazy will fit. The crazy will fit. So you spend all of your life with a guy in your ear or a girl in your ear telling you you're this, you're not that, calling out all of your flaws, but never talking about your good, right? Or you may have been that person. You may have criticized your man from head to toe, tell him everything that's wrong, trying to force him to change, and never spoke about his good. Well, honey, if we haven't learned anything yet in this world, you will change absolutely no one. Is it easy even attempting to change yourself? You're still struggling with changing yourself. So how in the world are you going to change somebody else? If you're having a hard time changing yourself, how can you give somebody else a hard time because they won't even change or because they're still struggling as they're attempting to change? But see, you can focus on their flaws because then you don't have to focus on yours too much. The only individuals you can change is yourself. Now, God can change people, but those people would have to still want it. So they want it and they're struggling, but they really want it, and you can see that they're really, then that's different. But some of you are sitting there with a headache right now because he or she will not change the one thing you've been complaining about for 3 years. Well, do you know with the individual that God has for you, whatever your flaws is won't bother them like that. It could be that one flaw or 2 or 3 flaws that you heard. Oh, okay, let's take ladies for example right now. Again, I have to keep remembering you guys love examples, so I'm going to keep plugging examples in. So let's use ladies right now. Okay, those of you with mouth. I'm raising my hand. God gave me a mouth to speak. And for some reason, he forgot to kind of compartmentalize it. So it kind of, blends over sometimes. So let's use ladies, since most guys, at least guys I know, the one thing they complain about is our mouths, let that be nagging or just not knowing when to shut up or X, Y, and Z. We talk too much. Men are wired differently. So we can have a conversation for hours and hours and we get it. Ladies, we get it. But when you're having a conversation with a man, like 5 minutes in, like his head is down and then he's rubbing the top, like he's he's rubbing the top of his head. And then we're looking at, I mean, are you not listening? Am I boring you? And truth of the matter is, what they're hearing is womp womp. We're hearing words. They're hearing womp 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 after a certain period of time. They tap out. Okay, so the man that you chose may literally hammer you all day long about your mouth. I mean, hammer you to the point that you're not afraid to even speak because you feel like anything you say, he's going to attack you. And okay, so the person you chose, I mean, every time there is a disagreement, it's always about your mouth, to the point where now your self-esteem is low because you don't even know how to speak, when to speak, all that stuff, right? And now the difference is the individual who God will have for you, right? Again, I'm still talking about the same scenario. So this is a man as well, who again, brain is still wired differently. They just, all that talking we do, men are just. But now guess what? You still have that mouth. He still have the brain that's wired differently. But he would know how to block you out. Not block you out, like in a bad way. But it wouldn't bother him. He'd just look at you and shake your head and be like, you know what? Do what you do. Just come holler at me when you finish. But he doesn't take it personal. And then he's not trying to change you. He's not telling you, shut up and you talk too much and stop talk. He's not changing you, but he gets you. And that's not to say that you shouldn't work on certain areas and vice versa. It just means that he's not going to try to change you or belittle you because you are just who you are. So he will have grace to just let it fall off of him. It doesn't bother him like that. And then on the flip side, what's something that women, we could, there's a number of things. I would go with probably the most popular, and that is men don't communicate well. They don't listen. Well, I just kind of give an example on why they don't listen, because after a certain period of time, they start to shut it off. So we have to get to the point. So if you're complaining or asking about why didn't he change the light bulb, right? You got to get right to the point. Baby, I'm asking you about the light bulb for about 8 weeks now. You think you can get to it today? But no, we want to talk about, I asked you about the light bulb 8 weeks ago. You didn't do it, so I went to Home Depot. I went on the aisle, and there were light bulbs, but I didn't know which one to choose. They had this watt, that watt, that watt. So I had to go and ask customer service, can you please show me? And then I got frustrated on the aisle because I was like, well, if you didn't change this 8 weeks ago, why do I have to change? So we complain. Men don't listen. And we're frustrated. And that, ooh, Jesus, is that frustrating. The man we chose doesn't care how frustrating it is. He can see you in tears trying to express, trying to dissect, trying to understand or get him to understand what you're feeling, but he will still tell you, you're talking too much. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. Meaning shutting you down. And once a woman is shut down one too many times, listen, right? Okay. That stuff builds and builds because it's pressure. You can't release it to him because you can't even speak. So pressure is being built. And boom, one day that pipe will burst. And when that pipe bursts, when you turn that key, all you're going to find is the dog bowl. Ooh, child. But the man that God has for you, as much as you're giving him a slight headache, he won't shut you down. He's going to sit you down to a table, look you in your eyes, and have a proper conversation with you. Does that mean he may not mention the fact that you do talk a bit? No, that doesn't mean he may not say that. The point is, he will be intentional about wanting to understand what's hurting you. And then because God sent him, there will be a supernatural grace to deal with you. Not deal with you per se, but to understand you. He can see past. You may be speaking in circles because you're trying to make a point, where he can know exactly what that point is when you first say it. So you don't have, and then it's almost like, oh my God, you get it. But all of my life, it took 4 hours to, you got it in 4 seconds. Where were you all my life? Well, so you see, it just fits. Last example, took a staff to dinner, to lunch yesterday. Staff and one of my patients to lunch yesterday. And we were just having a conversation. But the day prior to that, I kind of had a moment. That's probably why I felt guilty and taking them to lunch now that I think about it. Kind of had a moment. But again, one thing about me that a lot of people don't have is the ability to go back and apologize when I feel like I've said something or done something. Most people can't do that. People don't realize how freeing that is. It will free you when you know you may have done or said something, even if it's just tone or whatever. When you can go back and say, listen, I was wrong. It was just one of those days. It's no excuse, but I was wrong. That's freeing on both ends. On your end, and then on the person, because the person feeling like they did something in particularly, and it's not even what they did. It's just that they happen to be in that moment when, So now, rather than them thinking that they did something indirectly, your apology and you just having that discussion will free them, but it will free yourself. So anyway, as we were sitting down having lunch, I was explaining or attempting to explain to her my position and why I had, just that little fire moment, right? You know what she said to me? Now, keep in mind, this has happened before several times. And then I try to explain to staff, listen, when you leave your job, you get to go home at night with no worries. Once you clock out, that's it. But anybody who is in charge to steward something or just, a manager or boss or whoever, the level of pressure is heavy. And sometimes the smallest thing can just be that thing that kind of just sets you off, per se. But then how do you get somebody to understand that who doesn't have that lifestyle? Right? Now, when you're sitting in a room full of people who do what you do or may have certain positions, when you have this conversation in a room during a meeting, everybody gets it. Everybody gets it. It could be the one husband who's in tears because his wife and children at home think he's the worst father and husband in the world, because when he comes home a lot, he's on 10 and he's all stressed out and he just may throw some things. I'm not saying that's okay, but I'm speaking in general, right? Or it could be a wife who's super frustrated because her husband makes her feel like being a stay-at-home mom is such an easy job, but it's one of the hardest jobs in the world, and she's just spazzing out on him, but he doesn't get it. So when you put people in a room who have a certain level of responsibility and you feel like no one gets it, they get it. So the point I'm trying to make is trying to have this conversation with staff who may not have been always God ordained per se, couldn't get the concept. Instead, they're taking it personal. Their feelings are hurt. If I'm addressing something about the job, I can't walk on eggshells, right? Yes, I'm this loving, kind, all this stuff. But when it comes down to certain things, stewardship, things like that, listen, you're going to have to get up out your feelings, right? Because I'm the most sensitive female on the face of this earth. So I get what it feels like to be sensitive. But when somebody is addressing me with certain things or iron sharpening iron, listen, I might be in my feelings for a minute. But it's order. So yesterday at lunch, she said to me, as I was starting to express to her, and she's fairly new. Ding, 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 ding. Fairly new, but the same individual I spoke about earlier, about being God ordained, and she has the assignment that I spoke about earlier. But without a doubt, this is kingdom partnership for bigger purposes. She says to me, for the first time in my life, that any person, maybe outside of family or someone like really intimately close to me, got it without me even attempting to explain it. Mind you, I've explained it 1,000 times and they can't even get it. I didn't say anything or was about to, and the Spirit allowed her to see what I was attempting or rehearsing. to try to break it down in pieces, like I have to break it down or try to break it down to the others. She said to me, she said, well, I don't mean to cut across you, but can I say something really quickly? She said, when you're having your moment, when you're having your moment, and like you're in that moment, she said, can I be honest with you? I don't take it personal. She said, that's why I don't say anything to you. She said, you know what the Spirit showed me? When you're having a moment, you're thinking about the what ifs of the outcome versus the moment itself. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ding, 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 ding. So I'll give you guys an example because you're probably like, well, I don't. Okay, so I'll use my job for example. All right, let's say there's a patient who has some issues with diabetes or whatever. Okay, so then, excuse me, my staff are required to, of course, take numbers. And then by the end of the day, or even when they do it, they will email me or text me and wait on confirmation and say, okay, I received it. So I get to log these numbers. Well, if these numbers aren't looking too good, then boom, I have to immediately step in or give instructions or whatever, right? But the point is, okay, those of you with, let's just use blood sugar. Okay, you know, 300, you need to be up inside somebody's ER, like quick. So now, if we're having an issue by you not reporting things because either you got quote unquote too busy or you forgot to, first of all, that's an issue for me, right? But we're human. We all make mistakes. We all forget. So we're going to address this even a couple of times because, see, I'm so connected that, excuse me, my spirit will alert me to let me know when something is not being done. And then I end up calling you and you're like, oh, well, listen, okay, get it together. Seriously. I love you, but I play no games when it comes down to certain things. We can laugh all day long, but I play no games when it comes down to certain things. Because you can't leave a crack for Satan to slip in. You can't. Once he slips in, he's taking over. So you got to move in order. But now, okay, after addressing this, let's just say we're the third time in this month with the same issue, right? Really, I could fire you immediately because when you signed these papers, you knew what it was, right? But no. I'm going to give you several chances. And now it happens again. All right. So now I'm on 10, right? Not saying it's right, right? I'm trying to make a point here. I'm on 10. Because now I'm not seeing it as you just didn't log numbers or you just didn't call me and you just didn't do it. And I'm seeing it as the what ifs, meaning, what if this person ends up in the ER? Now I have no logs showing what we did, and now whose business is in jeopardy? Whose life is in jeopardy? So I don't see it as you didn't log it today. I see it as the what ifs. And then that what ifs cause me to listen. I'm going to be on your neck, point blank period. I'm not worried about your sensitivity at this point because this could have been avoided the first 3 times I had to sit down with you. So now when you get the wrath of Kizzy, because now you're playing out with me all kind of way. Okay? And now the next day we're having this conversation because you're crying, because you're taking it all personal. Well, I guess I'm just a no good. That's what your daddy probably said to you. I never said you were no good and you didn't. That's a seed that you feel like you're not enough because that's coming from someplace else. Versus you seeing it from order. integrity, character, all that stuff like that. However, I do apologize for my tone because regardless of what, I could fire you on the same first day that you screwed up. I didn't. And now because I felt like I should have, now I'm on 10. But I apologize for my tone and delivery. Well, let me try to help you understand why. Because I see it for the what ifs. I could sit there for 2 hours trying to break that thing down and they still don't get the concept. They're still focused on, well, I'm not perfect. Yeah, you're not perfect. No one is. But we're on number 4 here. Where this person saw exactly what I was trying to explain to people for the longest. She said, Kizzy, like, I get you. I haven't even like known you that long, but I get you. She says, as I've been sitting with you and just under you, your heart, your spirit, your presence, everything around you is love, peace, joy, happiness, power. So when I see that moment, the what ifs really is about what could potentially had happened. It's also about how can you say you respect someone, right? You say you respect the way I move, you respect my grind, but then I'm bringing something to you 4 and 5 times that can be detrimental. How much do you really respect me? If you're not trying to work on that thing. If you're not willing to say, you know what? You're right. I messed up. I forgot again. I'm going to work on it. It won't happen again. But instead, you want to make it all about your feelings versus acknowledging your screw up. And then she said to me, she said, you know one last thing I want to say? She said, I don't know anything about, your romantic life or anything like that. She said, if any man have ever met you and he left because of your on 10 at times or your mouth, he missed a whole gold mine because he couldn't see past that. And I was like, sis, now I hear you, and that is not me per se, because with me, for some reason, sometimes I hope my mouth run you off, but you wouldn't leave, right? You complain about it. And I'm speaking about the past. You complain about it, so I'm using the mouth, hoping it would run you off, but you can't leave your girl alone, right? So no, that never happened to me per se, where But do you know how many people, not just men, women too, who have left the person because one of their vices? They focus on one vice and miss the whole overall person. I'll say ladies right now, for an example. The man may not have all this money, but he's a good man. He's a great father. He has character. He has integrity. First and foremost, he loves the Lord. He have great potential, not potential in the sense of you trying to make him a man, but potential when he have a vision. But ladies, we execute things like very, we're multitaskers, so we can kind of ping, 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 where he has it and he has this tunnel vision and it could be extremely successful, but because he doesn't have $1 million, you leave him or you don't even give him a chance. People are walking away from gold mines, just like she said, because we, as human beings, can't see past a person's vice. That could just be, it's not even personal. You're just asking someone to change who they are, which is never easy. So what do? You walk away. So anyway, God ordained relationships, kingdom partnerships, people will get you. When she said that, listen, my shoulders went down. I was like, girl, where you been all my life? Oh, Jesus. Tired of calling staff meetings because people up in their personal bare lives. Where you been all my life, sis? You get me. So that's how these relationships of all sorts will be. It fits. Again, it's not to say that you're not wrong in certain situations. You still will be required to go back and apologize. Because you just can't make something that's wrong or could be done or said differently right. You just can't do it. Right? You're going to have to boss up and move your pride aside and apologize. It makes life so much easier. Most people won't do that. But the point is, the person is not trying to change you. They have grace with you. Big difference. Big difference. So you're not constantly headbutting each other. You're just like, you just get each other like, you know what? Girl, bye. You having a crazy, listen, there must be a lot going on today. I'll call you tomorrow. Or, in relationships or marriages, when I come up in this house, right? I may not be all bubbly like I normally am, right? That you don't take it personal, like, did you walk in? Did you just come from with another man? You're acting like you don't even want to, like, touch it. What's going on? Like, nah, she just had one of them days. So let me find something I can do to cheer her up. Or maybe I just leave her alone. She'll be back tomorrow. It just fits. It works. So, you guys have a great weekend. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.